Facebook. I'm bringing Instagram up right now, and we're going to have a chat. Let's see if Instagram can get on board. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Twitter or X, whatever you're calling yourself these days. Good morning, LinkedIn. Good morning, YouTube. My name is Ren Jones. I've got a quick and dirty live broadcast for you today. I did a poll last week on all my social media channels. And in the context of that poll, I asked, what's the most difficult problem that you're having in terms of getting your exercise in, following your nutrition, your exercise, your overall wellness protocol? And overwhelmingly, the response was, I'm just too exhausted to do any of it. I specifically work with women as a population. I'm a certified personal trainer, a certified corrective exercise specialist. I'm also certified in nutrition, level 1 and level 2, not that you care, through an organization called Precision Nutrition. And I have 3 different certifications in helping women through the menopause spectrum. One from Dr. Stacy Sims' course, Menopause 2.0, one from MedFit, the organization, Menopause Health and Coaching Specialist, and one through Girls Gone Strong. I think I'm probably the only man that has those 3 certifications in tandem. I'm actually in the Girls Gone Strong certification, so if you see me acting badly in that certification, just send me a message and let me know that my performance was overwhelmingly good. I want to talk about this fatigue thing today, though. I want to give about 15, 20 minutes to talk about this because it's important to the population that I serve. And also, I don't think that it's widely talked about in a way that you ladies out there can use the information to actually get around the bone crushing mental and physical fatigue that you feel. So we're going to get into that. I have to pay the bills really quickly. As a certified personal trainer, business owner, online coach, this is all I do for a living. Hopefully that's not shocking, but I'm currently enrolling. I've got 4 spots left for my next 15-week program. It's an individual program. I don't do group coaching. It's called Women's Liberation Movement. It's for midlife women who want to improve their health overall. Really, if you want to feel like if you want to feel like your body is your home again. We're going to increase strength. We're going to increase your mobility. We're going to help you feel more energetic. We're also going to work on nutrition without restricting calories, without counting macronutrients, without restricting foods. That's not how we operate nutritionally. If that sounds like something that will help you get back to who and what you'd like to be, DM me the word live, Live, right here. We'll have a short conversation in the chat. Now, be mindful. I'm going to send you a message. I'm going to need you to reply to the message in order to figure out if my program's a good fit for you. If not, no harm, no foul. Let's move on to the information. So let's talk about the fatigue that's keeping you from pursuing your health goals. It's very, very common. I want to simply address 3 reasons why you may be experiencing that fatigue so you have a good understanding of what you're dealing with. And then I'm going to simply express 3 simple solutions that may help you get going on your way. Before that, I'm going to have some of this delicious, delicious City Punch. So let's talk about the fatigue. I usually see this fatigue happen for a couple of reasons, one more complicated than the other 2. Simply put, the first reason is a cascade of changes happening to your body as you enter the perimenopausal stage. Quick refresher for anybody out there that's not familiar with the stages of the menopause transition, and we'll keep it at 3, although there are more, but 1, perimenopause. This is the initial sort of transition period into menopause. I can't believe I almost said the menopause. Lord, I sound 50, and I am 50. This is your transition into menopause. This is where we see sort of the early disruption of hormones. Estrogen, progesterone are fluctuating. It's a roller coaster. You got some loop-de-loops. You got the big cliff that falls off at the front. All of these things are happening. So for a large majority of women, you're experiencing a lot of extreme changes all of a sudden. You kind of don't know day to day what you're going to get. It's like that box of chocolates that Forrest had. You never know what you're going to get. That's the perimenopausal phase. Menopause technically can only be diagnosed retroactively, and it's when you look back 12 months and realize you've had no menstrual cycle. Of course, this can be complicated if you're on any type of contraceptive. A story and live broadcast for another time. And then postmenopause, all the days after that, when theoretically estrogen has flatlined, you've reduced to the level that you're going to maintain for the rest of your life. So during these phases of menopause, perimenopause probably being the most tumultuous, that's a $1 billion word for this early in the morning from a dude. Perimenopause being the most tumultuous time, we have a tendency to see most of the significant changes and perturbations, another $1 billion word. I went to college, right? And the most perturbations during this period of your life, and that's when you may feel the greatest sort of smack in the face of fatigue. What's happening? One thing that's happening in that perimenopausal phase is typically as estrogen starts to withdraw, sometimes cortisol levels can increase. I'm not here to paint everything with a broad brush of cortisol. Cortisol's the devil. I lost my hat last week. You know why I lost it? Cortisol. That's not what I'm saying. But we do know that cortisol is a hormone that helps us stay awake, right? When we get those first rays of sunlight, hits our photoreceptors. I'm sorry, I have allergies, you guys, so please, thank you for your patience. Cortisol starts to rise and it wakes us up. Some of you are flirting with cortisol at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and waking up in a full firefighter's panic as if some fire alarm has gone off and you've got to get on the truck immediately. So I have a good understanding of how that can happen, but that can lead you to a lot of sleeplessness. We also have the possibility in the menopause spectrum of being somewhat underfueled, and I'll circle back around to that. But because of the increased amounts of anxiety that may be experienced by women as they're going through perimenopause, estrogen sort of helps you manage stress. And as it's looping all over the place like a roller coaster, you may find yourself unusually susceptible to doom and gloom feelings. That's not uncommon in the perimenopausal phase. You may find yourself unusually anxious at times, not uncommon. You may find yourself sleepless at times, and you may find that you have aches and pains. Dr. Vonda Wright, who's brilliant, I suggest that you follow her here, talks about the musculoskeletal syndrome of menopause, a term that she is rapidly coining even as we speak through research, and that can be diagnosed sometimes as fibromyalgia. My sister at the rest of her soul, she only lived to 50, but that can be diagnosed as fibromyalgia, and we know that one of the things that sort of comes as a side order with fibromyalgia sometimes is chronic fatigue syndrome, and that's sort of diagnosed as 6 months or more of extreme fatigue, or at least very noticeable fatigue. So that cascade of things happening in your body during this perimenopausal spectrum, it could be one of the keys to your fatigue. Now, as I say that, you might say, well, Ren, what are you going to do about it? You're just some trainer guy with no sleeves on his shirt. True. I'm going to give you some assets that you can utilize on the back end of this conversation, but I just want to make sure that we run through the likelihood of what could be going on, with the understanding that women are not monolithic. Every woman is not going to have the same experience through perimenopause, menopause, or post, and this time in a woman's life expresses itself absolutely uniquely through each individual woman's body. So I am not arrogant enough to tell you that I'm all-knowing in this category of menopause, but I am trained. I have spent good amounts of money to learn everything that I can learn at this point without having the experience. And I want to allow you a broad range of information to inform your decisions. So that's the first thing that could be happening. The second thing that could be contributing to your fatigue is simply not fueling properly. One thing that's common amongst women who are active, and that's who I work with, women who are active or want to be active, that are in the midlife portion of their existence. One thing that can be really common is underfueling and training really hard. And a lot of this we can blame on the 80s. And you're no longer wearing your 80s hairstyle, I sincerely hope. So we may need to set aside some of those things that we learned about our exercise and nutrition in the 80s, namely the concept that you need to eat as little as possible and move as much as you possibly can, which leads to something that we call low energy availability. And low energy availability means exactly what it sounds like. It means you don't have the juice to do what you need to do during the course of the day. What I've found commonly, not always, again, women are not monolithic, there's differentiation. What I find commonly and generally, but not in each case, is that a lot of us who survived the 80s, I'm a 74 baby, I was a kid in the 80s and a teenager in the late 80s. A lot of us who survived the 80s have a tendency to, particularly women, have a tendency to not eat throughout the middle of the day. And it's not because you're specifically trying to restrict food. Typically, a lot of you have the habit of fasted training in the morning. A live broadcast for another time. I don't advise it, particularly for women in midlife, but that's not the subject matter for today. One block at a time. But a lot of you don't eat when you wake up. There's a lot of people who don't eat as they go into training. Again, not advisable. Not at this point in your life. That's probably going to backfire. But also, you may have that giant smoothie after, or you may have that protein-laced breakfast after. I sincerely hope that you do. And what you may find is that window between like 11 o'clock a.m., maybe 10, and probably 4 or 5 p.m., there's a distinct absence of food. You're just busy on the job, or you don't know what you want to eat, or you can't eat any clean food, a term that I'm also not fond of, also a live broadcast for another time. You can't find any perfect food, so you don't eat anything. You end up eating dinner and you're ravenous. After you eat dinner, dinner automatically asks you for some snacks, right? You eat dinner and you feel hungry, super snacky throughout the rest of the evening. So because you're chronically underfueled throughout the course of most days, and because you're so consistent and you want to be diligent about your exercise, you find yourself in a place of low energy availability, which the symptoms of can be really similar to just being in the perimenopause, the postmenopause spectrum. Things like, obviously, low energy, this fatigue that you're feeling that's just soul crushing. Things like an inability to perform well during your training. Things like consistent nagging injuries. You've always got a shoulder thing or a knee thing or a fracture here or something like that. That's really symptomatic of low energy availability and disrupted sleep. Yes, so your energy availability could be so low that it actually disrupts your sleep because number one, you may be hungry, right? You might not be in a place where your body can resolve enough stress, take itself from what we call a sympathetic nervous system or sympathetic drive, that's your fight or flight nervous system, and it can't kick over into that parasympathetic or your rest and digest nervous system function because it hasn't been adequately fed and it's been overly pushed for fitness excellence. So the second thing that could be causing your fatigue is you hungry, sis. Sis, you hungry. You get to eat. You have permission to eat throughout the day. And this is sort of why I don't work calorie restriction specifically into my program for midlife women, because you got to be fueled to be a badass, right? There aren't many cars on the side of the road that you'll pass and be like, oh, that's a badass car. dude, it's on the side of the road. It's not functioning. Don't be the, don't be the Maserati on the side of the road, ladies. Let's keep you in your lanes. So that's the second thing that you might encounter in terms of fatigue. The third thing will sound like a pyramid scheme, but it's not, and that's the fact that you haven't had very much movement. And I know I sound like a used car salesman saying, if you want to get movement, you need energy, and to get energy, you need movement. It's like a pyramid scheme, right? But your habits throughout the day in terms of your movement can be so diminished that it puts you in a state where you're sort of chronically fatigued because you don't get that burst that we get from exercise. Those are some of the main reasons why we, in addition to being maybe chronically underslept, right? We can't leave that out because this time in your life can be so disruptive to your sleep. If you're not resting, you're not going to be very energetic. So, what are the possible solutions here, Ren? Let's look at that. The first thing that will probably help you in terms of feeling so fatigued that you can't exercise is seeing your healthcare provider. And I don't mean any healthcare provider, no disrespect to your current healthcare provider, but I mean a menopause informed medical practitioner. Because here's the rub. Even gynecologists get a limited amount of formal education as they're pursuing becoming gynecologists. They get a limited amount of formal education as it surrounds menopause. And that's because they're not in charge of all the funding that goes into curriculum. Unfortunately, there's probably a group of men sitting at a round table deciding, at least to a certain extent, what we study and what we don't. We know that typically most medical research, most fitness research, most nutrition research is done on men, and men have a completely different endocrine system. They have completely different brain structure, as we're finding out through Dr. Lisa Mosconi in her brilliant book, Menopause Brain, and they have a completely different physiological system. And a lot of what we've discovered that helps people like me doesn't help dynamic women like you. So the first thing is you need a menopause-informed medical practitioner, probably. I keep a link on my page here. If you go up to my bio, there's always a link to what used to be called the North American Menopause Society. It's now rebranded as the Menopause Society. I guess they worldwide now, y'all. But it's rebranded as the Menopause Society. The link that I have goes specifically to the part of their website that allows you to type in your zip code and find a menopause-informed medical practitioner in your area. Because if you go to I hate to use the term regular doctor, but if you go to a doctor who may not be menopause informed, they may not be able to correlate some of your experiences in midlife with the menopause transition, and you may be you may be passed off as, I think it's all in your head, sweetie, or that's just XYZ that has nothing to do with what you're experiencing. A woman that I can call a friend now, Amanda Thieve, who wrote a great book called Menopocalypse. She documented her 2-year journey of feeling like she possibly had dementia. She possibly had a host of medical symptoms. For 2 years, she searched for answers to how her body felt until she got back to an OBGYN who was menopause informed. He said, oh, this is perimenopause. Y'all, for 2 years, she thought she was dying. Her body was breaking down. She was losing her mind in the early stages of Alzheimer's/dementia. It turned out just perimenopause. As an informed personal trainer at the time, she had never heard the term perimenopause. A lot of medical professionals, unfortunately, are in that same space. So go to the link in my bio. It's not an affiliate link. You don't enter the code REN or anything. It's just a place for you to get quality information, find a doctor that can help you. So that's the first thing, because you could have a cascading of events that are tied together medically. Could be low thyroid function. It could be a host of things. So your first solution is to make sure that you're working with a medical professional. Hopefully you have access to a medical professional. I know I'm taking a lot for granted here because some of you listening may not. If you do, the first step in your overall menopause wellness journey is to make sure that the person that helps you medically is well informed about all the intersecting things that could be caused as you're traveling through these stages of menopause. Again, links in my bio, type in your zip code. It'll tell you if there's a menopause informed medical practitioner in your area that has been certified through the Menopause Society, formerly North American Menopause Society. Step two, and this is where we get into nitty gritty. This is the stuff that I hope is going to really help you, is microdosing your exercise, right? A lot of you ladies came through the 80s. You got the all or nothing mentality. Go hard or go home. You can sweat, you can cry, you can bleed, but you can't quit. We all came through that stage in the 1980s where everything had to be extreme perfection, extreme movement, never take a day off, never miss a Monday. All of these random sayings that people really internalize and apply to their relationship with their own wellness. I'm going to say a bad word, earmuffs on the kids if there are kids in the room. It's utter complete bullshit, right? There's nothing wrong with microdosing your exercise. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you may go in the gym and you may hit a treadmill for 5 minutes, get off that treadmill, do a press movement, right, for your upper body, for chest, do a pulling movement, and do some type of squatting movement, whether that be on the leg press, whether that be you with a bar squatting, whether that be even a deadlift, a hinge movement, some type of lower body movement. You may get in there, get three movements, and you're out, right? If you got a 12-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute workout, because it is true that something is absolutely better than nothing, and this is going to allow you to reclaim your energy without feeling like you need all the energy to do a 1-hour workout. Never ever in your natural born life do you allow an egghead like me to tell you that something you're doing in terms of moving your body is not enough. There's a clip going around of someone talking about walking not being exercise. Bad words incoming again, more complete and utter bullshit. If you move your body in any purposeful way, that is good enough for what you have the capacity for at that time. Remember, in terms of exercise and in terms of financial savings, every single deposit you put into an interest-bearing account, and that's what exercise is the return on your investment, every deposit that you put into an account will yield a result except a zero deposit. So dismiss your all or nothing mentality, switch it to always something. Always something will benefit you so much better than all or nothing. We've got to get out of that go, go, go perfection mentality. If you think about all the times that you did not move, every single day of your life, every single period of your life that you decided not to move, and you replaced all of those times with 10 minutes of exercise, you would be living a significantly different existence today. You've got to step away from the fact of, well, if I can't do everything, I might as well do nothing. Easier said than done. I realize for some of you, that's been the standard that you've lived your life by. But microdosing your exercise, or again, as my friend Amanda Thebe would call it, a fitness snack, is so beneficial. It will help you reclaim that energy because, again, you're in that pyramid scheme of exercise gives you energy, but I need energy to exercise. At some point, you're going to have to find that egg that becomes the chicken that lays the egg. And a great way to do that is to microdose your exercise. The third thing that's going to be helpful when you don't have the energy to exercise is to respect your own capacity and manage your own expectations. We'd all like to get, and this kind of connected to number 2, we'd all like to get in that gym and crush it. Go in there for an hour, maybe an hour and 15, anything past that, it's probably diminishing returns, and just smash a gym workout. We would all love to do that. Respecting your capacity on any given day and managing your own expectations is a godsend in allowing you consistency. And what I work with my clients who do experience this fatigue on random occasions is we talk about having multiple exercises in their program, multiple routines that sometimes they can choose from if indeed they find themselves in a situation where they have low energy and low capacity for that day. Because as you ride the wave of this menopause spectrum, that's absolutely going to be a part of what you experience. There's just going to be days where you've got, if you've got 30% that day and you give 30%, you gave 100% of what you had that day. Recognizing and separating your ability from your capacity and not ignoring the capacity that you have for the day because you are upset that it doesn't match your typical ability is nonsense. It's not going to benefit you in the long run, and you really do need to be able to give yourself some grace, manage your expectations, and allow for what you can do because, again, every deposit compounds in interest except for a zero deposit. That's my quick and dirty. I'm going to pay the bills one more time. My name is Ren Jones. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach, 3 different certifications for menopause and training and nutrition. I love all 3 of them. I'm also certified as a women's coaching specialist. I primarily work with women in midlife as a population. I unfortunately lost my mother due to cardiovascular issues. I lost my sister in midlife due to fatigue, anxiety, depression. I lost my younger sister at 38, and I'm here to serve this population to take you away from all the things that are telling you that your body needs to be a certain way in order for your body to be healthy. When I say healthy, I don't mean smaller, I mean healthy. I do that without calorie counting, no macronutrient counting. I am a level 1 and 2 nutrition coach. My 15-week signature program for women in midlife is open. It's called Women's Liberation Movement. If it sounds like something that might help you on your journey at this point, feel free to DM me the word live, LIVE. We'll take a look, exchange some messages, and we'll see if what I do will be a good fit for you. Sorry, I got the allergies, y'all. I apologize for coughing all through this. And also, I don't care because the information is free. It's free 99. It's not like you pay for what you just. I'm kidding. But DM me the word live. We'll take a look at the program. We'll see if it's a good fit for you. My enrollment ends on Sunday, which is the 28th. I've got 4 spots left out of 5, and I hope to fill them quickly. I'll talk to you soon. Until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., let's keep things simple, and I'll see you tomorrow with another live broadcast. Talk to you soon. Facebook, LinkedIn, X, YouTube. Thanks for rocking with me. Reach out to me if you need me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.